The Krillian Empire had conquered 47 star systems in the span of a decade. Their military doctrine was flawless, their technology superior, and their warriors bred for combat from birth. When they sent the declaration of war to Earth, they expected surrender within a solar month. They expected fear. They expected pleading. What they received was laughter. Commander Zixthal studied the response transmission for the 18th time, his 4 eyes narrowing in confusion. The human diplomat had simply smiled, a terrifying expression that showed teeth, and said, "We accept. See you soon." 3 months later, the first human ship arrived at the Krillian forward base on Epsilon 7. It was small, almost insignificant compared to the massive dreadnoughts the Empire fielded. When it docked, Zixthal expected to see diplomats with surrender documents. Instead, 2 humans walked out. The woman was tall with dark hair pulled back in a severe ponytail. Her name tag read, Jennifer Morrison, Specialist. The man beside her was broader, with scars crossing his jawline and eyes that seemed to calculate trajectories even while standing still. His tag said Jack Chen, Specialist. "Greetings," Zixthal began, his translator rendering his words into human English. "We know who you are," Jennifer interrupted, her voice flat and emotionless. "We've read your file. 14 campaigns, 300,000 enemy casualties, 0 losses. Impressive." She paused, tilting her head. "But you've never fought humans before." Jack stepped forward, dropping a heavy case on the ground between them. "We're here to demonstrate why that matters." Zixthal's tactical officer hissed, "You dare bring weapons to a diplomatic meeting?" "Diplomatic?" Jack laughed, and the sound made several Krillian guards reach for their plasma rifles. "Commander, there's nothing diplomatic about what's coming. Earth didn't send diplomats. We didn't send soldiers either." He glanced at Jennifer, who smiled that predatory human smile. "We sent something else entirely." Jennifer opened the case. Inside were not weapons, but files. Psychological profiles, medical records, and video footage. "Do you know what a psychopath is, Commander?" Zixthal's translator struggled with the word. "Explain." "On Earth," Jennifer began, pacing slowly around the Krillian delegation, "about 1% of the population lacks the normal emotional responses that govern behavior. No fear, no empathy, no hesitation. For most of human history, we locked them away or tried to rehabilitate them." She stopped, her eyes meeting the commander's. "Then the unification wars happened, and we realized something interesting." Jack picked up the explanation. "We realized that what made someone a monster in peacetime made them a perfect soldier in war. No trauma, no PTSD, no moral injury. We could do things that would break normal soldiers and then go have lunch." "Impossible," Zixthal said, but his voice wavered. "War affects all biological minds." "Not ours," Jennifer replied. She pulled out a video file, projecting it in holographic form. It showed a younger version of herself, methodically clearing a hostile space station during Earth's colony rebellions. The efficiency was disturbing. No wasted movement, no hesitation, no mercy. When it was over, she walked past the bodies without a second glance. "That was my first deployment. I was 17. Jack activated another file. "The Earth Union made a decision 50 years ago. Every person who tested positive for psychopathy was given a choice: serve in the Specialist Corps or accept permanent neural modification." He grinned. "Most of us chose service." "You're telling me," Zixthal said slowly, "that Earth has created an army of 5 million trained killers who feel nothing," Jennifer finished, "who can commit any act necessary for victory and sleep soundly afterward, who can torture, execute, and destroy without the psychological burden that would cripple your warriors." She leaned closer. "Who have been training for this moment since we learned we weren't alone in the universe." The Krillian commander felt something unfamiliar crawling up his spine. His species had a word for it, though it was rarely used in military contexts: terror. Jack pulled up another display. "Your empire fights with honor codes, rules of engagement, and warrior traditions. Those are beautiful things, really. They make you predictable." He gestured to the data streams. "We've already infiltrated 42 of your command ships. My colleagues are currently inside your defensive perimeter on 15 worlds. They're waiting for the signal." "This is a bluff," Zixthal hissed, but his certainty was crumbling. Jennifer shook her head. "Commander, we don't bluff. We have no emotional investment in deception or pride. We simply calculate optimal outcomes." She touched her earpiece. Signal sent. Across the Krillian Empire's forward bases, chaos erupted. Specialists who had infiltrated as maintenance workers, traders, and refugees activated simultaneously. They didn't target military installations, that would have been expected. Instead, they systematically destroyed supply lines, communication relays, and agricultural centers. The attacks were perfectly coordinated, brutally efficient, and executed without a single unnecessary casualty. But that was just the beginning. On the command ship orbiting Epsilon 7, the lights flickered. The tactical display showed 30 human vessels dropping out of faster-than-light travel, surrounding the Krillian fleet. They were smaller than expected, but what emerged from them was worse than any weapon. Thousands of specialists, each one trained in zero-gravity combat, each one wearing armor that had been designed specifically to counter Krillian defenses, and each one utterly unconcerned with their own survival, if it meant completing the mission. Jack smiled as the reports came in. Your Empire wanted war, Commander. You wanted to test yourselves against a new opponent. You wanted glory. He gestured to the carnage unfolding on the screens. We're giving you war, but not the kind you imagined. Jennifer added, your warriors will break. They'll see things that give them nightmares, that make them question their purpose. They'll hesitate because they're normal, feeling beings. She paused. We won't. We can't. Zixthal watched his Empire's carefully constructed military machine begin to collapse. His warriors were superior in every technical aspect, but they were fighting an enemy that shouldn't exist. An enemy that evolution should have weeded out, but humanity had weaponized instead. What do you want? He finally asked, his voice hollow. Jack and Jennifer exchanged glances. Jennifer spoke first. Unconditional surrender, reparations, and a permanent embassy on your homeworld. And if we refuse? Jack's smile was the most frightening thing Zixthal had ever seen. Then we keep going. We won't stop. We won't tire. We won't feel guilty. We'll dismantle your empire piece by piece, and we'll do it efficiently, methodically, and without losing a single night's sleep. The Krillian commander looked at the two humans standing before him. Monsters wearing human skin, weapons forged by a species that had learned to turn its own darkness into a strategic advantage. In that moment, he understood the greatest truth of the galaxy. The most dangerous predators weren't the ones born for hunting. They were the ones who had no biological break, preventing them from becoming perfect killers. Earth hadn't sent soldiers. They had sent something far worse. 3 days later, the Krillian Empire signed the surrender documents. The war had lasted less than a week. As Jennifer and Jack prepared to depart, Zixthal had one final question. Are all humans like you? Jennifer shook her head. No. Most humans are kind, empathetic, and peace-loving. They build beautiful things and care deeply for each other. She paused at the airlock. But they're also pragmatic. They know that to protect their peaceful society, they need people like us standing at the edge of the darkness. Jack added, We're the price of their civilization, Commander, the monsters they keep on a leash. He smiled one last time. Remember that next time you think about threatening Earth. As their ship departed, Zixthal realized the true horror of humanity. They hadn't just survived the galaxy's dangers. They had weaponized their own evolutionary mistakes and turned them into an unbeatable advantage. The Krillian Empire had wanted war and glory. Instead, they had learned to fear the darkness that humans kept carefully contained until they needed it unleashed. The galaxy would never underestimate Earth again.